Welcome to Custom Home Builder Solutions, also known as CHS, a job costing, full accounting, and profit management software for the professional home builder. In this video, I am going to demonstrate some of the financial statements available in CHS under Accounting. So I will click the Accounting Financials button here, and I see I have some different options, and one of them is the financial statements, balance sheet, income statements, profit and loss, trial balances, and cash flow. We will discuss cash flow in a different video following this one. So if I click that, I'm going to get some options for doing balance sheet, trial balances, and cash flow, or income statements, or comparison financial statements. There's also some information, some other videos right here that can be very helpful in helping you reconcile your subsidiary job cost reports to accounting balances, or some suggestions here for each month you should check for and clear closed jobs out of the work in progress accounts. So you could watch those videos. We won't really talk about that one in this one. One thing I'd like to point out is that there's a tip here. It says if the sum of profit and loss accounts on a balance sheet are not matching a current year income statement, it might mean that you need to use the button on the Home tab to close books year end for one or more previous years, and there's a video about that and talking about that. But first, let's go ahead and click this Help button. And then let's look for the section on financial statements and get that expanded. And I'd like to show you that there is a help document for what I'm going to click to open it. It has to go fix it up so that I can get it on my browser. And first page is just a title page. And then this page just tells you what I just told you, except for one other thing I should mention. There's two ways to get to this window here, so let's close it. Another way, if you don't want to click the accounting button and you're just over here and you want to get to financial statements, there's you can click FS to get to financial statements and select that, or BS for balance sheet, or IS for income statements, or TB for trial balances. Any one of those will actually open this same menu for doing financial statements. So that's that page. Let's continue on down. And I'd like to pause for a moment and just, first of all, financial statements are usually statements that sort of present to you the condition of your company. There's trial balances, which is a list of all of your accounts on the chart of accounts and the balances in those accounts as of a date that you've selected. It is usually printed at the end of an accounting period, and it's usually a worksheet and not a formal financial statement. It serves as a convenient tool for review of the totals that will print on your formal balance sheets or income statements. Excuse me, I hiccuped. If your books are in balance, it means that all debit and credit balances for accounts total to zero. If a trial balance does not total to zero, it means that your books are not in balance. CHS is actually taking care of keeping your books in balance for you everywhere. So you post an accounts payable entry, it posts an offset entry to accounts payable. If you post a deposit, then you're posting the offset to cash, and et cetera, et cetera. But if there was some big weird computer glitch, etc., we do have some tools to search for where something got out of balance, and tools that can fix anything in your database. You can print a trial balance as of a certain date, or you can print a trial balance for a period. And I'm now going to go demonstrate that rather than really go over these pages. So let's go back to our program, and let's do trial balances first. And let's just select a date of, I actually think I only have data in through March in all this demo company. Then we'll have sparse sort of stuff on our balances, but I think you'll get the point. So I just want a trial balance for the entire company as of June 30th, 2016. And the way these are gathered is based on, if you watch Chart of Accounts videos in the Chart of Accounts section, you can control what is being grouped and totaled under certain financial headings, and you can also tell them which financial section those headings should be in. please watch those videos. So that's why these are grouping by these different headings. Different people might have different headings that are totaling and grouping. If you see things with parentheses around them, that means it's a credit balance. If you see things that are positive numbers, that means it's a debit balance. All that means, it doesn't mean anything really other than liability accounts usually are credit accounts, and that usually is the amount of your liability. This means you do have $74,568.04 in invoices as of June 30th that were not paid. This does not mean it's a minus balance. It just means it's a credit. And liability accounts are normally credit balance accounts. Talk to your accountant some more to learn some more about that if you don't follow what I'm saying. But anyway, this one totals to 0, a list of all of our accounts, so we're very happy about that. This is for the entire company. Now let's say that we want to do a period trial balance instead of just the trial balance. I'm going to jump down here for a second and just show you the period trial balance. Let's just say we want to see 0101 2016 to 01, let's do 0331 2016 just for whatever reason. And let's just say for right now we're just interested in a little trial balance. It's just for the construction liability accounts, and we happen to know those are in the 2000 range. Let's just say because we want to know how much money we received for jobs, because that's usually where we're putting it, is in some construction liability accounts for this particular quarter. So let me do that. It can take a couple of seconds to pull that information together, but if you have a ton of accounts or a ton of range, but in this case it didn't. So I can see that during that period I increased my construction loans payable. A credit balance means an increase in liability accounts. I increased my contract deposits by 20,000, and in this period I have not had any change order deposits. I think we were posting some in another period in some of our demos, but I can look at that. I could look at any range of accounts or all of them and have this total to 0, but you get the idea about how you can see a trial balance for the period. It'll take the day before the first date I put in, so it's showing the balance as of the day, as of midnight the day before, how much the changes were made, and then the ending balance based on the dates I put in. So that's what that is. Let me see here what I've got next. Year to date. Now let's go to trial balance grouped by GL number than job. I actually go into this one quite a bit more over here where I said we had some videos about reconciling your job costs to your job cost subsidiary reports. But also this one here will show us how much is in there for each job for the period that I selected. So you can see which jobs are having some sort of activity during this time period. And it shows the name of the job. Let's get off of here and let's go to the trial balance with job sums. And this is very important that we have a job costing program that can do this for us. You'll see jobs are listed here. A lot of times the account you're very interested in is this direct construction cost and how much is in it. These are your job costs if you're on a completed contract or a percentage of completion. How much job costs are in each one, and you can click on these to drill down to the detail behind that total if you like, with a whole lot of detail about where that number came from. But you can get a report of trial balance sum by job. This is useful at the end of each month to make sure there's no lurking balances for some old job that's been closed that you maybe need to get moved out of work in progress and over to cost of sales. But that's a whole other video. But you can print that report, and it can be real handy to see how much you have in each account for each job. There's accounts payable, how much is in accounts payable for each job, how much your contract deposits are, your loan deposits, and like I showed you, your direct construction costs can be very handy that way. These are a couple of property management jobs we have and a little remodeling job, and how much accounts receivables out there for each job. So you can see how handy that would be to have that one by job. I think that might be all I need to do about trial balances. Oh, there's another one that's not just by job, but with department sums. We don't have the drill down on that because you can go search the accounting database for all the records for a certain department, for a certain GL account if you like. If you're tracking and doing financials by department, you can certainly make use of this to see how much is in each account for each department. And this other one with job department sums, if for some reason you posted something to a department with the same job but a different department, like in this case, for some reason, he probably should have used the CH department when he did this to group. That usually drops in for you based on what you've attached to the job, but I could have been who knows what doing things. And this is a very old job of his, and in this case, this is a real demo job of mine, and who knows how I posted some things. But if you're interested in departments and job, then you can get that trial balance that way, broken out that way. All of those first open in an HTML web view, which means, let me talk about that for a minute. You can export it to PDF so it'll break nicer by page, etc. You can export it to Excel if you need to do some work with these various numbers. That's why it opens in an HTML, almost a rough draft view. This isn't a hard report. A lot of times you will export all these financial statements to PDFs. I don't know if you can hear the thunder. Hopefully we're about to have some rain. All right. We did the selected period trial balance. The other neat thing about having a job costing program is that you can do a trial balance just for a job. And so I selected our demo job we mostly work on. And here's the trial balance, which shows the balances in all accounts just for that job. This person is on a percentage of completion basis of accounting, so has a couple of extra accounts in here that you might not see, and has been recognizing sales and cost of sales based on a percentage of completion. Again, sales is a normal credit balance account, so if it has parentheses around it looking like it's a minus, that actually means it's a plus. CHS on balance sheets now will turn these around to show them like you might expect, and on income statements. But this is actually the hard balance on a trial balance for these accounts, and they should total to zero, little trial balances. That's why you need the pluses, the debits, and the credit totals. That's that trial balance. You can also do one for a department if you like, and see all of its things. There are sample reports in our help document of all these if I open and close them too fast for you. We will be coming back to a lot more information about cash flow and about how CHS can track cash by job or by department and how much cash was contributed. Let's move on to a balance sheet as of 6:30. And the balance sheet is controlled again by you and how you set up your financial headings. This person set up cash, has cash as a financial heading or a group heading under this financial section of current assets. The big break here of assets, etc., current assets, fixed assets, is controlled by CHS, but you can make all these groupings under each financial section that you want so that you have them grouping and totaling like you like. So this is assets and fixed assets. So total assets are supposed to equal the liabilities and equity on a balance sheet account, 576,078. So liabilities, you can see how CHS went ahead and reversed these normal credit balances so that they'll look right to you. So you don't see a minus around them, but really this is, if it's a liability and this has a positive amount, that means behind the scenes it's really a credit balance. So that's a balance sheet. On the help document, when you get to balance sheet, I put a little definition of what balance sheets are and how they're structured based on this website right here, which is a pretty neat one to go to for very basic accounting terms, etc. So you might check that out. We can also do a balance sheet with the GL numbers attached. So in case you're wanting to know what the general ledger account number is because you want to go to your big accounting database and find out what this balance is all about, you can have the account number there, go there, look for everything through, search for everything through June 30th, and get that same balance. Now on a balance sheet, like I mentioned, there's a section here, when it says liabilities and equity, all of your income and expense accounts that are marked to be on income statements are summed up in order to make this into a balanced sheet, basically. So it's just a sum up of all the balances of your income and expense accounts as of the date that you selected. And the reason you saw that tip, let's say I produce an income statement through June 30 of 2016 and expect it to equal this, it may not if I haven't closed prior years. In other words, moved sales and cost of sales and general admin expenses to an equity account, to something either like owner equity or retained earnings for corporations, etc. So that's why I had that tip, and that's what this balance is about. And there's more about that on the video about that. You can discuss that with your accountant also. So that's a balance sheet with GL numbers. And then there's a balance sheet summary, which is just those financial sections, financial group headings that I was talking about and the total in each one. So it's a much shorter balance sheet without all the detail like credit card liabilities. It doesn't list each credit card payable that you have set up as an account on your chart of accounts. It just lists the total of the accounts that you set up under your various financial headings. So that's what that's about. Let's take a look now at, we did balance sheet summary, group financial headings. If you want to do an income statement for the entire company for a selected period, balance sheets and trial balances are as of a certain date. It's the balances in accounts as of a certain date that you select. But if you want to do income statements, or a lot of times people call them profit and loss, then let's just do those 6 months of 2016, since that's what June 30th was the one that I used for balance sheets. So here's an income statement, profit and loss. Who knows what we have in here in our demo company, but since we've been doing percentage of completion, we have a little bit sent to sales. Based on the percents earned each month on a job. You can watch our videos about percentage of completion if you'd like to use that method, which is actually the most recommended method for knowing where you're at. Then we have some rental income from some rental properties. Because of percentage of completion, we've been moving our costs each month over to cost of sales, some of our rental expenses, some general and office expenses, and we come down to the same number you actually saw, which this is the sum of the income and expense accounts. These are summed all up on a balance sheet and just put in one line number there to get things balanced. Now, if you do a period like just a month or something for an income statement, that likely not be the same as the total that's on your balance sheet, because it's a sum up as of that date, not just for a period when it's on your balance sheet. So that's an income statement. There's an income statement with GL numbers, which I'll just flash open and close. It's just really giving you the GL numbers that go with all those same accounts. And if you want an income statement for a prior year, for a year that you closed, like we did close 2015, in other words, we zeroed out all the accounts on our income statement. If we just did this income statement right here, it's going to basically include, it's going to have all the balances, because what this income statement does is ignore the closing entries. So you can always get an earlier period financial statement. CHS knows if you use the tools that CHS has for closing the books at year end, CHS will know which entries to ignore to go ahead and produce prior year income statements. But if I did a statement, since we did close 2015 If I did a statement for that year, you're going to see all the balances are zero. This one is a statement that says it includes the closing entries. So you can use that to check to see if you really have closed a prior year. If you have, all of those accounts should be zero. Now you can also do little income statements for a job. And just see the little, I should have changed the, you can see for the year 2015, or you could know that you started it then. If you wanted to see everything, and you know you started it in that year, you could make it like a year and a half's worth. But just remember, income statements are based on a period of dates. But since we started this job somewhere in October of 2015, this is how much we've recognized as net income on this job so far, using the percentage of completion method to go ahead and recognize some of the income every month. And this one will just give you the GL numbers, and you could see during that same period for some department that you select. Maybe you have a property management department. That one might be more interesting, actually, right at the moment. It's for our little rentals, so we could see how much. We know we didn't start them until in our demo stuff till late in 2015, but we can see how much our rentals have contributed to our net income. There's rental income, some revenues for utilities we collect from our tenants, how much we spent on utilities to get a gross profit. And this telephone we have is just for our property management, and we're depreciating our rental properties some each month. So that's what that's about. If you want to see a breakdown of all the jobs that you have going on, and an income statement that shows you how much is for all the jobs, you might select your first job and then your last job, or I might have selected just the ones that began with PM for property management, to property management, to get in to see how much is for each property. But we'll see that here with all the jobs. And you'll see that what this is doing is summing up things by job. The amount here is the same job, this job. You can see the rental income has two jobs going on here. So you can see how much is in these accounts for that period, for the range of jobs that you selected. And like I said, I could have just selected the PM jobs, and that might give me some information about just my property management. So that's the various income statements that you can get. You can set up profit and loss financial budgets, and that's a whole other video and a whole other section of help. This one here is if I just wanted to analyze income statement GL accounts for the year 2016 so far, I can get a little summary by month. And this is just for the year 2016, and it's just for everything. Like I said, I've only put data in January, February, and March. There's my percentage of completion entries really going on in a way that I was doing. But it can be helpful to analyze things for how much you spent per month. It can help you do some financial budgeting. This is a bare bones thing where I haven't entered much of any general and mid expenses in my demos. And then you can get the detail behind all of that for the year, grouped by months and what detail there is. And a lot of that you might use for financial budgeting for the next year. Might be pretty handy. And the other thing you can do is you can do comparison financial statements, and I'm actually going to compare this to the first 6 months of 2014 because that's really when this builder was doing some stuff that we could compare to. The early part of 2015, this is a dead set of books really that I'm using for demo. Didn't really have any activities, but you'll get the idea anyway. First of all, I've selected period 1 to be the first 6 months of 2014 and period 2 to be the first 6 months of 2016. So if I do a comparison income statement, what you can see is period 1, and it tells you what period 1 is up here. Our sales were this much for the first 6 months of 2014, but we posted sales of this much, so we're up by that much. You can see we are now having rental income that we didn't have in 2014. That's affecting how much we're up for the gross sales and revenues. Cost of sales, we've actually spent more, so we're down there. And rental utilities, that kind of thing. You can take a look at. We didn't have much going on in 2014 either for admin expenses, but I posted some for 2016. But if you were wanting to look at it, you could see. And these numbers are minus numbers so that they make sense. They're actually debits, but they're showing as minus on an income statement so that you can understand, so they can sum up right. So things that are usually credits are put as a positive amount, and things that are usually debits are put as a negative amount on an income statement, because that's what actually makes sense to your eyes, is that your sales and stuff would have positive amounts, cost of sales would have negative, but you can reverse those in your head if you're an accountant for what those really are. So you can see how we compared that. For some reason, some people don't want to see the difference between the two, so that's what that one is. We can also do a comparison balance sheet for the two ending dates that we have here. So I can also do that, and that can be useful for seeing, like, I don't know, we had this much cash at the end of 2014. We have this much cash now. I mean, as of June 30, 2 years later, we have this much cash, that kind of thing. See your cash. At the end of 2014, we had 0 in work in progress, but now we have this. So you can see how things are changing. You can tell we got some rental properties since the June 30th, 2014, etc. So that's what that's all about, and you can compare balance sheets to see what the changes are however you like. So that's that. And I think that's all I need to do. In this particular video, we covered trial balances, balance sheets, and income statements. And we will come back in another video and some other help documents to talk about cash flow. And thank you for watching.